Welcome back here to the Team PSB Spring Showdown. Marcus Burnett going to be joined on the mic by Chris Watkins and Sylvester Williams. This next championship matchup here from the Spring Showdown features Georgia Sting Avery. They're in the red jerseys taking on FBC 17 Black. That's the squad per the roster book here at the Spring Showdown. Should be a very good matchup, fellas.
If it's anything like our last matchup with that comeback, the Tennessee Extreme came back at the end. It's like the second I got off the mic, they just started scoring. So we definitely hope that we have another great matchup here as we get started early.
Early 2-0 advantage now for Georgia Sting Avery, and they'll have a chance to add to it. Traveling violation going to go against Lauren Van Arsdale. So Sting Avery with it. That pass, not enough on it. Ball tipped around. 2 shots at it there for Sting Avery, unable to come away with the point, so FBC will bring it the other way. Here's Deshae Benjamin, definitely a player to watch as this game continues. Just in the early stages now, but Benjamin doesn't take her long to make her presence felt. She'll get a trip to the free throw line.
So skilled, you know, and then just so athletic. She can pretty much do what she wants with the ball out in this setting. She can get to the rim, she can pull up, and the fact that she's going to be one of the primary ball handlers with her height and athleticism is going to make her such a tough matchup for FBC tonight.
Talk about how athletic Benjamin is. Their games aren't the same, but I think the comparison fits because when you look at them, you can't tell how athletic they are. Benjamin reminds me of a Jaylen Brown in that aspect. If you just were to see Jaylen Brown just sort of walking, or you see Benjamin just sort of walking up the street, yeah, you can tell that they can play, but you don't really see the athleticism until you see the ball in their hands or the game is already tipped off. I think those two are very similar in that aspect. Benjamin good on that free throw. Attendee of Lucy Laney High School there in the Augusta area. You talk girls basketball, they are always in the hunt.
You know, that's one of those strong historical programs. I can remember, I'm from South Carolina, and, at one time in the 60s and the 50s, Laney would play the 2 teams from Columbia, the 2 black schools from Columbia. They would play Laney, and that was just a battle that if you talk to any of my father's friends, you would always hear them talking about Laney High School, how good Laney was back in the day. And, it's just a tradition that hadn't stopped. 60 years later, they're still a dominant team.
That they are on both the boys and the girls side. Here's Lindsey Marchese at the line. Archer High School attendee, the Indiana University commit. Unable to knock down that second free throw. So Georgia Sting Avery doing a good job of getting to the free throw line early. It was Benjamin that was at the line. Now we're going to see a trip here for number 24 in Alana Davis. Davis in and out on the first free throw. Same with our last matchup. We're going to see some good guard play here. But a nice treat on the interior when you look at the likes of Alana Davis. So Benjamin's more of a wing and can do things from the guard position. She plays inside a lot, but also Marchese on the FBC side.
That's nice right there to stop the transition and knock down a J.
That's Vanessa Blagman. Attends Norcross High School. I believe she was at Woodland prior to going over to Norcross and was a solid contributor there in her freshman year. Has only gotten better there at Norcross. Nice defense. Sting Avery retains possession. That shot too strong. It's going to be brought the other way there. That's Nia Lee with the rebound for FBC. Pass intended for Marchese. Deshae Benjamin was all over it. Yasmin Avery, she's come out aggressive. Pass inside to Marchese. It's one power dribble and a lay-in inside.
Did a good job of taking that power dribble and then using her body to shield off the defender so she can go ahead and get that easy too.
Good defense there by Blackman, gets a hand on it, can't chase it down. Sting Avery retains the possession. Long rebound chased down by Van Arsdale. Van Arsdale takes it right at Benjamin and is able to lay it in.
Nice move to go up under the rim and switch from the left hand to the right hand to use her body to defend it off from the bigger defender.
That Van Arsdale play makes it 6-4 now. FBC with the 2-point advantage. That'll be a 2 if it goes, and it does. For that one, number 31, Sydney Graydon. Out of Greenbrier High. Float game off the mark there for Van Arsdale. Tied up at 6 apiece here in the second of 3 championship game broadcast for you today. It's Marchese with the steal and the finish on the other end. I'm sure somewhere Coach Ryan Lesniak is giving a little silent fist pump for that move. Seeing one of his former players make a play.
Nice pass.
Blackman with the lay-in. That's going to prompt the timeout from head coach Will Avery. Let's take a look at some of the top plays here. Up at this point, you're going to see Blackman get it to Marchese. You see that power dribble going up strong. Now looking for a call from the official. Just going up and looking to finish. There was Marchese. Take a look at another one here. That's going to be this finish by Van Arsdale. Great job of using her body, but also the rim as a protector. And then last, but not least, Marchese with the steal and the lay-in. Under 4 minutes left to play here in the first. Miscommunication there on the pass attempt. FBC steals it. Enough time to dial up a three-pointer. That one in and out for Alyssa Cagle. So. In now for FBC. The aforementioned Alyssa Cagle, she's number 2. Also seeing some action, number 22, Lillian Kennedy. And number 21, Emma Waynon. Subs in for Georgia Sting Avery with the ball, number 10, Olivia Owens. Number 30, Jaden Hamilton. And it's Sydney Graydon with her second bucket of the game. And Alexis Pierce, number 1, also seeing her first action to Georgia Sting Avery. Work it inside. They play Klinko with it initially, but it's picked up. That's short.
You know, it's a completely different, completely contrasting styles of the first game and the second game. The first game, they started out, everybody was shooting from outside. Everything was long distance, long range. And now with these two teams, both of them are content to working inside, short, mid-range game, and still putting up the same amount of points. They're just doing it a completely different way.
Yeah, and you had mentioned Alyssa Cagle earlier. I just want to give a shout-out to her coach, Coach DeWitt over there at Sequoia. Actually, he sent a tweet out earlier about how he's just waiting to see tweets about his players. She's had a good day so far today. She averaged about 9 points a game this year as a sophomore campaign at Sequoia High School. You know, they were one of the best teams in terms of their region in the state of Georgia.
Oh, we mentioned St. Francis and how good of a squad and program that they have over there. We broadcasted Sequoia versus St. Francis over at the Verizon Hoops Procure this past high school season. And even though St. Francis got the win, Sequoia really made them work for it. And for anybody that's seen that roster, it's very impressive. Different styles of play between Sequoia and St. Francis, but you could tell with the way that they started their season off that they would be a force to be reckoned with, and the She Chiefs didn't disappoint this season in Georgia. Offensive rebound, the fall away is no good. That was Deja Mitchell. Couldn't get it to go. Mitchell attends Duluth High School. Girls program continuing to experience some momentum over the past few years.
Coach Charlie Parker, current coach there, used to be on staff with him at Burtmar High School a couple years ago. Great guy. I think he's got a chance to do some really special things for that program over there at the Duluth Wildcats.
You know, you mentioned a lot of these Gwinnett County schools, but it's so much talent right there, and probably what is a 15-mile radius, circle radius of those guys, man.
Yep.
And it's so different because as Gwinnett grew and now it essentially really became two Gwinnett regions. It's been Region 7 and Region 8 the last couple years. I don't know what it is next year. I know they changed everything to make sure that we do it. GHSA just make sure football's great in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
But when I was in high school, I remember the year after I graduated, the Gwinnett was all one region. It was like 13 teams. So it's always kind of been that way, and I graduated in 2003, and that's on the boys' side. We had the Burtmars, we had the great girls teams, the Collins Hills right afterwards. You know, and that's just, it's kind of the heart and soul, but not to leave out Fulton and Cobb, and we always have these conversations.
Lindsay Marchese representing Gwinnett County well. As you saw her power through. Contact from both defenders, not enough, but she cannot get the free throw to go on the back end. 4-point game, stop and pop by Benjamin. Benjamin misses, offensive rebound, no good on the reverse attempt. And we're gonna have a tie up there as Lillian Kennedy was trying to get out of Dodge.
You know, just so many things, you know, you would love to see. I would love to see if I had my magic wand and I could, you know, get my way. I would love to see that Gwinnett County take on DeKalb County or Fulton County. Pretty sure my people down there in Clayton County would love to see a matchup like that, you know, a matchup of some of these counties. Give me an all-star county game. Really a great matchup to have.
Would be a fun concept as Marchese denied. They were on the inside. Talked about the intrigue of some of those post matchups. Marchese had her way the past few times. Georgia Sting Avery trying to tighten it up on the inside. Just over 40 seconds. Good defense being played there by Van Arsdale. And a good job of tracking that pass down over to Cagle. He scoops it up and in.
The scoop layup.
Like that all around, able to throw the ball ahead. When you got a player like Van Arsdale, the pass does, if you can make it precise, cool. But as long as you get it over the defender, Van Arsdale's going to track it down. They just got it to her. She made the nice touch pass, and Cagle able to finish.
Ooh, takes it from her.
Cookies. Van Arsdale coming the other way, got a few seconds to work with. Benjamin trying to play the in-between game. Cagle has it blocked.
You're not going to get that foul in the AAU game. You got to tough that one out. You have people over there screaming foul. No, they're not going to make that call.
Marchese can't get that shot to go, so we go into the quarter break. 16-10. FBC with the lead. You take a look at the pass there by Van Arsdale. Cagle able to lay that one in off the window. We'll be right back. Coming out of the timeout and ready to get the second quarter started. Appreciate you joining us here on SUV TV. Marcus Burnett joined by Chris Watkins and Sylvester Williams.
Oh, nice rip.
Great defense there by Cagle.
And the finish on the other end by Mitchell. Foul on the play. So over to FBC, it'll be thrown in by Emma Wainin and brought across by Lauren Van Arsdale. Van Arsdale out of Whitfield Academy.
Oh,
wide open, all by her lonesome. Can't get the layup to go, but she's got reinforcements. Lillian Kennedy. Active hands there. That one knocked out of bounds by FBC. Coach applauding the effort on the defensive end.
You know, that's one thing I'm saying about this FBC team. You know, everybody, they're just like little nets on the ball. Everybody's there, hands are moving, hands are wagging, you know, just constantly moving, causing pressure on the ball. Look at that, another hand jumping in there, knocking it away.
Van Arsdale continues her high level of activity. And I'll get it to Benjamin. Shot no good, rebound. Gathered in and converted by Alana Davis. Cuts the FBC lead to 8.
Now we'll see if the Georgia Sting, you know, if they can just maintain, play defense and take it one possession at a time and kind of chop down on this 8-point lead.
Foul on the play is going to send Wayne into the free throw line.
FBC's ran some pretty good sets the last 2 times down the floor, and including now it's third if you include there after that inbounds, where they're doing action along the baseline and back screening for the wing. That's really difficult to guard if that's something that you have not prepped for, or unless you have true defensive things in place. You know, we switch that, we don't switch that, you chase. I mean, that's why FBC's gotten, you know, now to the free throw line and gotten the easy bucket last time down the floor.
Free throw missed and rebounded by Graydon. Wayne will be called for the foul, trying to turn the pressure up on Deshae Benjamin. Back in for Sting Avery, number 10, Olivia Owens. Jaden Hamilton with the handle over to Benjamin. Benjamin. Couldn't get that one to go, but if Benjamin's going to be guarded by Weenan, you know, I think that's a matchup that Georgia Sting Avery has the advantage in. So that won't be the last time she goes to the rack aggressively.
I mean, if you're Georgia Sting Avery, you're currently down 9, you know, 2 minutes into the second quarter. You need Benjamin to get going.
Yeah.
You also need to make sure you don't give up wide open three-point opportunities to Van Arsdale. As she shows you, she can knock it down. Makes it a 12-point game. Chases that one down now, gets it up top. FBC moving the ball around. Nice poke away there from Benjamin, but Cagle's right there. Davis brings it in over to Owens.
Oh.
And Arsdale just sort of sized that one up. That was taking candy from a baby. Drops it off to Mitchell. Mitchell denied, and will go to the line. I think when you look at, you know, Georgia Sting, like you mentioned, Benjamin has to get going. I think so much of it right now has been Alana Davis, really kind of keeping them in the game with the way she hustles on the inside. She's been able to get a couple rebounds and putbacks, but outside of Davis, not a ton of production.
Yeah, not at all. It's like I'm just sitting on pins and needles, kind of just waiting on Benjamin to step up and show the type of player that she really is, but we hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, and she's not the type of player to, you know, you mentioned some players whether selfish is the word you use or them just sort of taking things into their own hands and using their abilities. Benjamin, always a player that just kind of looks to score within the flow of the game, doesn't come down, take a bunch of shots, but she just needs to be a little bit more aggressive like we saw her be on that last move. Even though she missed, you see how hard it is to keep her out of that painted area. She strips it away. Now here's Owens. Owens with the and one. Olivia Owens turning defense into offense. Take a look at that one on the replay. As you see, winning. She's been hustling all over the place. Guarding Benjamin on one end. They're trying to get back and deny Owens, but Owens on a mission. First part of it complete. Can get the second part done at the free throw line. That one off the back of the rim, though. Still an 11-point game. Got to hit your free throws as well if you're Georgia Sting Avery. Following her shot is Van Arsdale. Into Mitchell. Mitchell can't get it to go. Here's Owens. Owens to Benjamin. She's able to step into one. Oh. Kicks off the back rim. Brought the other way by Weiner. Cagle guarded by Benjamin. Weenan coming with the screen. She goes opposite. Drops it off to Mitchell.
Nice pass underneath to the wide open man underneath the basket. That's good court awareness right there. You know, when you penetrate to the hole and you make the defender step over to you. Oh, nice layup on the other side.
That was number 30, Jaden Hamilton. Hamilton, another Laney High School attendee, but answering right back to his FBC, Lillian Kennedy.
Coach is going to need a timeout right here. He needs to stop things and let's think about what's going on.
Timeout on the floor. Let's take a look at a couple of the plays that have been made. We're going to see Cagle's last play. Went opposite the screen, got the step, was able to drop it off to Mitchell, who laid it in from there.
It's tough when you're down, you know, plus 10 and you feel like you get something going, you get a bucket. They had that and one down there. Then they give up a couple easy ones like you just showed there in the replay.
13-point game now, and then that steal isn't going to help the cause. Shot missed on the other end. They hustle to get back, but it's Van Arsdale trying to get another three-pointer. High screen. Van Arsdale with another triple. She makes it a 16-point advantage now. Trying to go for another one. That's one of those, maybe not the best shot, but with the way she hustles and what she's done in the first half, I'm not complaining if I'm the coach.
No, definitely not. You got to let those go. I mean, if you're going to ask your kids to play as hard as they have them playing right now, you saw a couple minutes ago, 3 or 4 of them dove on the floor. You have to allow them to take shots like that. I think it's very difficult to demand perfection on the defensive end all the time and then also try to micromanage on the offensive end. You have to allow kids, I think, to play a little bit.
And you kind of have that perspective. They said Draymond Green, there was a little tiff in the Warriors locker room a couple weeks back to where, you know, I think Draymond didn't like Steve Kerr second-guessing a couple shots he took. You know, Draymond sort of felt like, I'm not saying I shoot like Steph or like Clay, but I do way too much on the defensive end to catch any flack about taking a couple threes here and there.
I remember when I was a college assistant, I got in a pretty heated argument with the rest of the coaching staff about a player who does some stupid stuff when he was on the floor, but he played harder than anybody we ever had. So I think he shot it and hit the shot clock or something. I mean, I was like, hey. I was like, come on, man. I said, we were asking him to guard a 6'9" guy who's an All-American. I mean, he was mad. He was tangled up. He had like 10 rebounds in the first half. So, yeah, he hit the shot clock, but it's okay.
Right. I get where your rationale is coming from, but, man, he could have helped you out a little bit, Watkins. It could have just missed off to the left a little bit or maybe like a
somebody
tipped
it, you know. I mean, the shot clocks in our league, they were in the way. I mean.
The shot clocks are in the way. My
He's
goodness.
actually a high school coach now at Habersham Central. His name is Miles Kendall. So, Miles, if you're listening to this, I will send it to him now. That's how I had your back, my man.
Hey, you got his back, coach. Real talk, man. Blackman gets the rebound. It's now an 18-point advantage for FBC. Floater, no good. Blackman with the offensive rebound. She misses. Marchese doesn't.
I think that's why I made it a point my entire basketball career to never disappoint the coach. I never played defense. I just shot. So he would never expect me for lagging on defense because I was never there.
Pass inside. It's missed. Marchese with the rebound after scoring on the other end. It's now a 20-point advantage for FBC. Arsdale.
Oh, bottom of the net. That's her third one of the night.
And pushes this lead to 23 points. If this were a high school game, you love to be able to hear coach in the locker room. You love to be able to hear Will Avery and what he'll say to the Georgia Sting at halftime. But we'll be able to hear whatever he says more than likely right here, and I don't think it's going to be too nice.
No, I mean, at this point, there's only so much you can say. I mean, it's a long travel season, just like it's a long high school season. I see so many times you can only have that speech or that talk twice at the season most. I mean, kids get tired of hearing it, and obviously Will Avery's played it at the highest level, so he knows that. I mean, he runs one of either the top, most organized, just top to bottom, what they do programs here in the Southeast. So, I mean, he asked them earlier, says, I mean, do y'all want to play?
Yeah.
He's not gonna browbeat him. You see him right now. He's getting some subs in. He's gonna see if he can find somebody that wants to play in this game today.
Even though the precision and the team gelling and those things are going to come later in the season, there shouldn't be a team in this field that is close to 30 points better than his Georgia Sting Avery squad. I think he's going to definitely echo that sentiment, even though this FBC squad is talented. A 30 ball.
Ooh, nice move.
Case in point.
Alexis Pierce says, put me in the game, coach. Comes in with that sick hesitation and finish over the front of the rim.
Marchese, she's doubled, kicks it out to Blackman. Blackman for three. Misses the shot. I want to be lost out of bounds there by Gianna Copeland. Cagle to Van Arsdale. You think she wouldn't have an open look?
I'm telling you, somebody needs to start putting a hand in her face, at least.
Last touch by Blackman. So 3 seconds.
Oh, launched it too early.
So that will send us into halftime. It's a lopsided advantage for FBC. And Lauren Van Arsdale, a big reason why, as that's her third triple in the first half. We will be back after halftime.
We're back for the second half. FBC in the white is currently up 43-18 over Georgia Sting Avery.
All right, rebound pulled down. Going back the other way, Elena Davis, he'll give it up to Benjamin. You know, let's see what type of adjustments the Sting will make to try to cut down this 20-point lead. Doesn't look too well coming out of the half. They'll call a jump ball on Benjamin. You know, what do you tell your team when you're down by 20 at the half? What do you say?
I think, like I say anytime I'm on here, and I learned from my father and brother and everybody else I've ever coached with, or you've got to attack the game as games within the games, quarters within the quarters. You know, you want to say at this mark we want to get it down to 12, at this mark we want to get it down to 10. Because even if you hit a couple threes and make a run, the other team's still going to hit a shot, and that can't completely deflate you.
Yeah.
That's why you have to look for small victories through in each quarter. And it's different at the collegiate level when you have the TV timeout, so it kind of does become the game within the game. So you have all those smaller breaks. It's different, you know, in the high school level and our current level without all that.
Oh, okay, they call the foul.
She stepped around the screen. It's got to be contact.
All right, you heard the ref. That's one thing about SUV TV. We bring you real close. We're down here close. You can hear all the conversation going on in the game.
I think it might have been Mayday Challenge. We even actually went to the SUV TV for the replay right before we went to overtime to see if the game winner was good.
It's one of the great things about the sports utility vehicle, you know, bringing you some of the most exciting basketball in the Southeast, the North. I mean, we went up to Flying the Hoop in Ohio, you know, Chick-fil-A Classic in South Carolina, some of the big name tournaments around the nation, the Lighthouse Classic in Mississippi. You get to see some of the best with SUV. Old Marcus does a pretty good job.
I know that's what I always kind of count on. And, hey, man, where you at? If my wife happens not to be home, I am able to throw a broadcast on the big screen upstairs. And just the development of what they've done, you know, with Marcus and his wife, Lisa, what they've done in terms of just growing the SUV. You saw the broadcast we had 5 years ago compared to now. This is probably the premiere in terms of the broadcasting and what they do and the knowledge of the sport and the players in the nation, I think, undoubtedly. You see Cagle getting out there and finishing in transition.
Nice move going down the court and laying it up. And you know, one thing about the sports utility vehicle, go ahead and follow. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Go to SUV TV. SUV TV. You want to see any of the broadcasts, go to thesuvtv.com. Check us out. Check out Marcus and Lisa and Joel, Chris, Hemi, Brandon, all those guys out there.
And they got a little bit something for everybody. You can also visit lacrossefire.tv, I believe it is. I mean, that's a new thing they got happening. You know, they've done some college games, you know, host some of the premier events here in the Southeast in terms of lacrosse. So those of you out there, be sure to visit that as well. Just an ever-growing market and just diversification in terms of covering different sports throughout the country.
As a matter of fact, I guess they're even doing a podcast. They're doing a podcast, a talk show. Brandon, Clay, and Marcus are doing a podcast. Two guys with faces made for radio. They're doing a video podcast, but you know.
Don't tell either of them that. Oh, Cagle is having a huge half.
I'm telling you, you know, between Cagle and Van Arsdale, those two, they're probably the two smallest players on the court, but they've had the biggest impact on this game so far, those two.
And that's one thing when you're Cagle's size, and that's when she stepped in the game. Her first shot was an air ball. You know, you're looking, but I looked at the name and I realized that I'd been on the internet a little bit earlier, and that's how I knew her stats. I've been on Max Preps. When you have to be skilled.
Yes.
And that's what she showed here today. She's got in the paint. She showed her ability to hand the ball, showed her ability to hit some shots. I mean, you have to overcompensate for that. And that's when you can tell that's truly hard work and hours spent in the gym.
Yes. And, another thing that I like about Kago, I was talking earlier about active hands, just being active. And I don't know how many steals. We don't have the stats in front of us, but she's probably had about 3 steals so far, maybe 3 steals. And I know she's had countless tipped balls of just being in the passing lanes, man. I love that, man. I love to see active players. For a guy who doesn't play any defense, I love to watch people play defense. Because if they can be active and get in the passing lanes, that means they can get me easy fast breaks. That's the way I think. Maybe that's wrong.
I'm into buckets, into people scoring, but I'm also in terms of pressing in up-tempo basketball. I think so many people think that people try to say the Warriors don't play defense, which is stupid. They were one of the best defensive teams in the league last year. They were good when Mark Jackson was there. But just because when you play a certain way offensively, it's going to generate more possessions. So, of course, you're going to give up more points per game.
Exactly. And look at that. Talk about defense, the offense. Benjamin just got a steal and converted it with a layup. There's the Indiana signee right there. Or Indiana commit. I'm sorry, she can't be a signee yet. Indiana commit. One thing that I'm kind of ambivalent on is when you have the kids that commit so early. I like to tell the kids, enjoy your senior year. Go to those 5 official visits, man. See everybody. Enjoy it. But then you have the other side of thinking is, you don't want the pressure. You don't want coaches calling your house. You want to let the world know I'm going here, so leave me alone.
The way I can kind of relate that situation, we're all within our organization are so diversified in things we do, not only within Peach State or outside Peach State. I run JUCOReport.com, and there's a player by the name of Tyrone Sam that is going to be going to Jacksonville University next year. Mm-hmm. He committed early. He'd originally committed to Coastal, decommitted, committed to JU right after our Battle of South Jamboree in October, and that took so much stress off of him. They haven't came out with the All-American list yet, but he was Conference Player of the Year in Georgia, so he will be an All-American. Don't be surprised if he's a first or second team All-American. I think he finished the 3rd leading scorer in the country. And what he mentioned to his coach over and over again is he had seen one of his teammates the year before, Javante Spivey, was a first-team All-American, wait to commit, and saw the stress that caused on him. And he had games where he had 40. He had a game where he had almost 50. He had multiple games, and that's what he said. I wouldn't have had that season had he not committed. So that kind of takes the stress off of you. You don't have to worry because when you're a top-level player, and even when you play on the circuit and everybody knows you play basketball at the high school level, where are you going to play? Where are you playing? When are you going to commit? When are you going to commit? And so that just puts a overall stress on them. I think once you make that early commitment, you're comfortable in your decision, your parents aren't stressed out. You're not stressed out. You're not hearing nonsense from people at school. So I do think that sometimes is the benefit to that committing early.
And I guess that's my difference. Being a football guy, I guess my difference when it comes to football, I like to commend my high school coach, Charles Macaluso. He kind of persuaded and, used his coachly ways to tell our players, any player that came through the Columbia High program not to commit early so you could still bring coaches out so you could see your teammates. And I think we had a player on my team, Isaac Mitchell, played running back, and Isaac was recruited by everybody in the nation. Guy ran a 4.3 40, had 2,000 yards rushing his junior year, and everybody wanted him. And he didn't commit because our coach wouldn't let him. Well, he couldn't stop him from committing. But the fact that he didn't commit, other coaches still came to watch him play. And that's how I ended up getting a scholarship from coaches watching him play.
Yeah, most definitely. You see that a lot, in basketball and football, just when you have one of those culture programs that everybody visits and recruits those players. Now, one thing I want to note, because of where the score is, the clock is running. But from Georgia Sting's standpoint, the way they played that quarter, I mean, it was more organized. I mean, I know
Yes.
FBC still has a large lead, but from an offensive standpoint, in the way they look much better. So that's one of the things you have to look at if you're Coach Avery and you're in the Sting team. And like I said, he will. I mean, he's very good at what he does in the program. Georgia Sting, top to bottom. You know he's going to be able to go back and watch this SUV TV footage. Say, all right, guys, look, here's the progress we made. You know, here's some things that worked good in the third quarter. You know, we weren't guarding the three at all in the first half. You know, we were able to shut that down some in the third quarter. And you're going to have to do the same thing in the fourth quarter. It's about continuing to get better because as much as these tournaments are important from a playing experience, you want to be playing well during the 2 weekends in April when coaches can be out and then those 3-week periods in July.
Yes.
I mean, that's why all these players play. For as much as it is discussion of love of the game, what we talked about, wanting to move on to the next level. So as you see Coach Avery right there in between the quarter, hey guys, here's what we got to run to start because you want to be playing in front of those baseline of coaches at our PeachStateBasketball.com events during the open periods. And the way you do that to continue to keep playing in front of more is continue to win.
I had a coach who used to say it's called when you play hard. If you play hard enough, it's $100,000 thank you card to your mama. Because if you play hard enough and you can earn some type of scholarship, that's $100,000 that your mother will not have to spend.
Exactly.
For you to go to college.
Last finish was by Lauren Van Arsdale on the other end. She's had a great game here today. She hit all those threes in the first half. She had a couple of fantastic finishes there at the rim.
Yep, 30-point game. Have a running clock right now. Score 58-28. FBC on top of Sting. Sting Avery, Georgia Sting. Nice spin move. It won't fall.
If you're watching Benjamin this game, I mean, you can't get discouraged in her abilities. She's trying to do a lot. Where she's going to be her best. And I think even at the collegiate level, you know, when you continue to surround her with the type of players to where, like, she can put up a 12 points, a 9 rebound, a 4 steal, a 5 assist. I mean, you see her here on the defensive end. That's the type of player she's going to be, and she's going to continue to develop. But she still made plays these games. It's hard to get shots off.
Yeah.
I know sometimes if you're listening that might sound silly, but it's hard to get shots off. And she has the athleticism to get those shots off. And when she's surrounded, if she's got more shooters spotted up, and as the rest of these players, because a lot of these players are newer on this higher team, because they had a number of seniors last year that moved on to the collegiate level, she'll be surrounded by more of these, or even these players when they're more comfortable in a couple weeks, because this is probably only the first or second tournament they played in.
And, you know, a lot of them, like you said, that comfort level. They have to get used to playing with each other. You know, you got a hodgepodge. You know, most of them are from that Augusta area, that area down there. But, you know, they've seen each other. A lot of them played against each other during the school year, but playing on the same team. They just got to get a little bit comfortable.
You know, and sometimes you just have a bad game. You know, that happens.
Yeah, it happens.
We've all been there. It's not the first time. It's not the last time. You know, I had a game I coached one time. We lost by 30. I don't know what happened. The game started, and the next thing I knew it was by 30. I mean, so it's hard to do, but you have to take small victories. You have to take these players that are going in the game later that might not always get in. How can you still coach them? You know, how can you find positives in what they do so they still feel like they're just as important to the program as everybody else? If you're FBC, you're not going to quit coaching.
No.
It's not your fault that you had a great game today. That's not fair to your players. I know so many people, hey, don't run up the score, practice some zone. No, you do what you do. If you press, you press. If you don't, you continue to do what you do, and that's what FBC is going to do. And I think that's what Coach Avery would expect, because if he's in the same situation, he's going to continue to coach his players too.
That's one good point you brought up. You know, you continue to do what you do. You know, it was a team, I think, in Ohio, who beat a team by 100 or shut them out 100-0, you know. I don't know the score. But the coach was saying, hey, he's like, hey, I took my starters out. I had my ninth graders in. What am I supposed to do? Tell them to hold the ball? You know, you got to keep playing your game.
I had a situation where I had a player who's a senior who never really got to play. He was in our magnet program, had like a 4.9 GPA. I don't even know how that's possible, but he had the highest GPA in the school. He went in the game. He took a charge. They called a block because we were up by 30. And after the game, you know, I'm going, that's what we teach. Good job. And I'm hyping him up. And I had somebody come up to me and say, what is wrong with you? Why are you still coaching up 30?
You got to keep coaching.
You got to keep coaching. I mean, and that's what's happening on both ends here, is both coaches are still coaching as we have players ready to check in the game, because it's about continuing to get better and continuing to work.
And it's something I like what you said earlier, you know, playing the game within a game, games within a game. Okay, you know, you're down right now. But right now, you know, you got somebody who might not be a starter, who might not get that much playing time. But when they get in the game, it's 0-0. You know, that's their game within their game. You know, let's work on what I need to do, my boxing out, you know, stuff like that. The little stuff, the games within the games, you got to keep on playing. Ball will go out of bounds. It'll be Sting ball. About 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go in this ball game. Score 63-30. Fourth quarter. Hard pick in the lane. Got a blocking foul. What's the skunk rule over here? 25? 30. Running clock now.
It'll be 30. Once it goes up 30, you got to get it back up under 20 for the clock to stop running. Cagle there again on defensive end.
Lay in good.
Great second effort there by number 30 in the red for Georgia Sting, Jaden Hamilton out of Laney High School, 2019. So you like what she's giving you here. I mean, she's not going to quit fighting here at the end of the game.
We'll go back the other way. Nice crossover scoop to the lane. Owens will go to the line and she'll shoot. Olivia Owens, a junior out of Johnson High School. I think Johnson, that's down the Savannah area, I think?
Yes. See Blackman bring it up the floor.
Cagle, move it over to Blackman. Blackman, nice behind the back dribble. And that'll be the ball game, folks. Score 33-63. FBC on top of Georgia Sting.